good afternoon, everyone, or good morning, or good evening, or whatever it is where you are. We have more than 200 students and parents attending this meeting, and we've set it up to share information with you about the reopening of campus and the start of classes this fall. For all of you students and parents who are new to Earlham, I will formally introduce myself. I am Dr. Ann Hauptman, president of Earlham College and Earlham School of Religion, and hereafter I am just Ann. We're very informal here at Earlham, but we're very serious about providing our students with an exceptional experience. Learning's a partnership here. And our faculty respect and value each student's perspective. That is going to remain even when faculty have to teach some classes or portions of classes online. And of course, we hope to see as many of you as possible this August, but I know you have a lot of questions. And the reason I know this is because you submitted more than 100 of them. Fortunately for me, there's a lot of overlap in your concerns, but it's going to still take a while to answer all of them. So I'm going to jump right in and address them. And I grouped them by major categories, but I should point out that every area includes safety precautions as one of your really legitimate concerns. So I'll start with the general campus measures first, but we'll also be touching on specific measures in each of the other areas you've asked about. The first category of questions has to do with campus-wide prevention of COVID-19, and the others are about testing for COVID-19, course scheduling, decisions about coming to campus this fall, tuition, room and board, academics, especially questions related to instructional delivery, res life, residence life, campus life, and food service. Oops, now I lost my list of things. Right, how we will handle cases of COVID-19 on campus and what we'll do if the cases escalate, how we're going to make decisions about study abroad, which we refer to as study away since not all of these experiences are out of the country. And then there were some questions specifically relating to international students. So that's a lot of ground to cover. So let's get started with the first question asked by many of you. What is the college doing to ensure students will be safe from exposure to COVID-19 when they return to campus? And this is a great question. And I, as a parent of a college student, ask the same question. First of all, of course, I want to note that there's no way to guarantee that a student won't come down with COVID-19. Because the college can't control all of the variables, such as whether students are social distancing in residence halls and during social events, or whether they're wearing a mask when they go shopping off campus. Those are just a few examples. But I will say that we're doing all we can at our end to protect the health of our students and employees, which starts with holding everyone to the same standards and expectations. We are a community that believes in mutual respect. It's one of our Quaker principles, and we are holding each other accountable for safe practices, including off campus, so that everyone stays healthy. Everyone will be required to wear a mask indoors, with the exception of your residence room or your private office. We're also asking students to bring masks and a thermometer to campus, and we will also have a supply of those available. Everyone's required to observe physical distancing, a space of 6 feet between individuals who are gathered. In classrooms where we'll not be able to maintain 6 feet, we're still spreading the seating apart, and of course, students and faculty will be wearing masks. We've also asked faculty to plan how best to deliver the content of their classes in a way that keeps these requirements in mind. For example, some faculty members may opt to create a rotation so that only half the students are physically present at a time, while the other half are working on an assignment from another location. Each faculty member, though, needs to make that decision for themselves because it's their pedagogy. As far as facilities are concerned, I'm going to run through a list of the major preparations. We have, first of all, sanitized all buildings. This includes dorm rooms and residence spaces, all offices, classrooms, restrooms, and common areas. We're implementing protocols for regular sanitization of all areas of campus. Second, we've inspected all air handling systems, and we've changed filters to maximize clean airflow in buildings. Third, we're placing hand sanitizer everywhere on campus. And signage that explains our mask and social distancing policies and provides guidance about good hygiene to prevent the spread of disease. We've also reserved private rooms for students who need to be isolated and supported while recovering from COVID-19. And fifth, we're establishing 2 dining times, spacing tables further apart in the dining hall. I've also decided to buy picnic tables for so that students can eat outside and social distance more. Those will be on the heart and various areas on campus. We have a much more complete list of protocols and policies on our COVID-19 website, which is earlham.edu/coronavirus. There's a link to it from the top of our home page in case you can't remember the URL. So the next question is, what procedures will be in place when students and employees leave campus during the fall semester, such as go downtown or shop for food? Will off-campus excursions be limited, both for individuals and those that are school-sponsored? So we've canceled all school-sponsored travel this fall, which includes internships that require students to report in person, except at this point for athletic competitions. We're waiting on guidance from NCAA for that. This is true whether the internship is in the local community or away. We cannot regulate the students who go off campus, of course, but we're asking everyone, and that's students, faculty, and staff alike, to wear a mask and social distance at all times when out in public to preserve the health of everyone in our campus community. I can't emphasize enough that we're all in this together, and we need to take care of each other as we get through this pandemic. We can all limit our exposure when away from campus so that we don't carry germs back. Okay, now you have a set of questions about testing for COVID-19. First, I'm going to have a drink, a drink of water. Okay, the first question is, will testing for COVID-19 be required before students return to campus or upon arrival? The Centers for Disease Control does not recommend blanket testing for colleges because it's just a snapshot at one point in time. So we will not be requiring testing when students come to campus, but we will be doing temperature checks. We are urging all parents and students to check your temperature before you head for campus, because we will be checking it here when you arrive before you're able to move into your room. If you have a fever, we'll be referring you to a rapid testing center, and you'll need to bring those results back before we can admit you to campus. Let's see, will regular testing be available for students who have COVID-19 symptoms? We don't have the capability to conduct tests on campus, but we'll assist in arranging for students with symptoms to be tested at one of the testing sites set up by the Wayne County Health Department. And should a student or an employee test positively for COVID-19, we'll be working with the county health department to track that individual's contacts and notify other individuals who may have been exposed so that they can be tested. Will the college allow students to stay on campus to isolate for 2 weeks at the end of the fall semester before returning home? No, I'm afraid that's not possible for us to do that, and it wouldn't be practical because while students are traveling back home, they could as well be exposed to the virus. Okay, next set of questions, course scheduling. When will the schedule of classes be available? How will the scheduling process work, especially now the returning students have to re-register for the new 7-week fall terms? The course listing is going to be posted within the next day, if it's not already up. All students will register the week of July 13th, and returning students are encouraged to write down the classes they plan to take so that they can be added for the new frame of Fall 1 and Fall 2. If there are time conflicts or students need to add or drop a class, students should consult with their academic advisors or the registrar's office. I will tell you that my son just checked with his advisor, and there were no conflicts for him. So I took that as a good sign. So this means that all students should know their updated schedule or new schedule in case of incoming students by the end of next week. Okay, so next question is, what arrangements will be made for seniors and juniors facing conflicts in the class schedule that might prevent timely completion of degree requirements? And I know our juniors and seniors are, especially seniors, are the most concerned about this with a new schedule and new way of doing things. They've already lost a big chunk of time here on campus, so it's very stressful. But since each situation is unique, we thought we should be working individually with seniors who have concerns, and then we'll ensure that we can resolve any conflicts that might prevent them from completing their degree requirements in time. Juniors will also receive special consideration. The important thing is to talk to your advisor immediately. If you see any kind of issue at all, don't wait. Talk to them right away, and we'll get started immediately on that. Okay, next question. Please explain, and I'm sorry I'm rushing through these. There's so many. I want to be sure that I have a chance to talk to you about all of them. Okay, please explain how credits will be awarded under the 7-week term system. All right, most courses, almost all courses are now 4 credits. One exception is music lessons, which will remain 1 credit. Another exception is independent study, which will now be 1 credit in both Fall 1 and Fall 2. Now, there may be other courses, a few other courses for no credit or 1 or 2 that are scheduled either in 1 term or across the entire semesters. Students are allowed to take up to 18 credits with 4 courses over Fall 1 and 2. 16 credits is the expected load for both semesters, so it would be 16 credits, right, for each semester. So that would be 8 in each of those. Fall 1, 8, Fall 2, 8, but you can float up a bit more than that. Students with a reduced course load definitely need to consult with their academic advisor, the registrar, or the director of academic enrichment, because that can affect your financial aid. While all internships and similar types of experiential learning will be virtual this fall, some of these opportunities are available, including the possibility of using Epic Advantage and similar types of funding to cover the cost of remote internship placements. Okay, next question. Can students double major given the current academic schedule? The short answer to that is yes. The longer answer is that the current schedule allows students to take the exact same number of credits per year as a previous academic schedule. And that's in part because we have this January term now that's just a 3.5-week online 4-credit course. We will work carefully with students who've already declared double majors and are close to graduation. And for sophomore students just declaring majors, we anticipate they'll still have enough time to complete 2 majors. Let's see, next. 1 second. Will all courses for the fall semester also be available online? Will students be able to choose an online option for classes in addition to or instead of in-person classes? So not all courses will be online. Some courses can only be offered in person because of the curriculum or the pedagogy that doesn't lend itself easily to online. Great example of that is lab courses, studio courses. Those are really not things that you can do online. Someone asked about chemistry courses, and I said, we really don't want to ship you a basket of chemicals to run experiments at your house. So you can expect to see the type of delivery for every class in the course schedule during registration. So when you're registering for your classes, it will show you whether each course, whether it's available online or only in person. Oh, I see, I forgot that. Can we fulfill the lab portion of our courses, such as chemistry, from home? This is a point I just made. So in many cases, the answer is no. Some labs, probably most labs, cannot be replicated online without substantial shifts in what you could learn during that lab. So there may be some exceptions. Oh, I see Chem 111 is planning to offer an online version of the lab, and physics, but no chemical shift. And physics is investigating an interesting possibility for labs at the introductory level. Physics is a little more straightforward for doing that sort of thing. So that's great. Okay, will there be an alternative for the EPIC experience? And what about Bonner service? Both great questions. The Center for Global and Community Education has been working diligently to generate alternative options for students who've not yet been able to use their EPIC Advantage funding. And these options will include virtual opportunities during the upcoming fall semester. More details will come late in the summer. And I'm sorry, I see that someone just sent me a message, so I better, in the chat function, so I better make sure it's okay. I actually, so I'll let someone else take that question. Are the classes on campus going to be held in classrooms live, or will they be online courses? We will have both available on campus. I know some professors are, each professor, like for example, some professors maybe will decide to do the lecture online, and then we'll meet in small groups to work through problem sets or something, or have a small group discussion with students. Others are fully online, but then we'll have office hours in person. So lots of, if you're on campus, you kind of can take all the ones you want, all the different ones you want. Now, fully online, our international students, and this has been true for several years, for many years, I think, our international students can only take one fully online course a term. Okay. So let's see. Oh, I was going to say, so Bonner service. For this year, there will not be a Bonner in-person service and internships due to COVID-19. We've actually, and I'm having another conversation with the head of the Bonner Scholars. They really, the Bonner Scholarship Foundation, they really understand the situation that we're in. We will have remote service and internships available. We're excited about that. The Bonner leadership and 4 of our Bonner summer interns have been working very hard this summer to find remote opportunities for all of our scholars in this program. So let's see, next set of questions is about coming to campus this fall. Do students have the option to choose not to return to campus, or is that only for students unable to travel back? If I'm unwilling to return, even with the precautions being taken, what should I do? Can I take online courses? Great. Yeah, we understand if you have concerns about coming to campus this fall. That's understandable. You will be able to enroll for online courses, but you should be aware that not every course will be available online. Also, the fall semester is composed of 2 7-week blocks right now, and the financial aid, room and board, building are all built into that. So you'll need to, if you're going to stay remote for the fall term, you'll need to do that for the entire semester. If you're going to be on campus for the fall semester, you need to be there for the full semester. If you're off campus during the fall term, then for the first fall term, you cannot come to campus for the second fall term. So this leads to the next question, actually, which is very similar, which is, will we be permitted to start classes the second fall block if we're unable to start on time with the new earlier August start? So just as I just mentioned, both 7-week terms make up the fall semester. So students cannot enter mid-semester. If you cannot start in August, either in person or online, you'll need to wait until the spring semester, February 1st. However, you can get a jump start on the spring semester by enrolling in January term, which is completely online. Okay, and so now here's a question about sports. Winter sports season is still a way off, but with second term ending in November, will winter athletes be expected to stay at school? This is kind of a non-answer, and I apologize for that. There's a lot of things we're still learning about. We have been focusing on getting our fall sports season set up safely, and we're now starting to look at our winter sports with guidance from HCAC, our conference, from that leadership. The HCAC conference leaders are meeting tomorrow, July 8th, to address winter sport competition schedules specifically. And once we have more information from our conference, we can answer this question. We will certainly be in communication with our student athletes just as soon as we know more. And just if this helps you feel confident about this, the presidents of HCAC meet regularly as well. I meet with those presidents, I believe monthly, and we're all very concerned about our student athletes, both their safety and their opportunity to play their sports. So that's a real important thing for us. Okay, for enrolled students who can't return to campus due to travel bans or visa issues, do they still have to pay for room and board? No. Students who aren't living on campus will not be expected to pay meal and housing charges. Now that will affect your financial aid, of course, because you're not paying all the costs, but I'm not sure exactly how that works, but you certainly won't have to pay for something that you don't get to have. Okay, so a few more questions on tuition, room, and board. 1 second. Okay. Will there be adjustments to tuition due to online courses? No, we're not going to charge more for online courses, even though it's cost us a lot of time and money to develop those courses and to help our faculty build those courses. But that probably wasn't the question that was being asked. The question was probably, are we charging less? And no, we aren't charging less because we're implementing multiple delivery methods, and we have significantly increased costs associated with COVID-19 across all areas of our operations, but especially in helping faculty develop, do the professional development and technology that it requires to teach online courses. And I will tell you that most faculty I speak to say that online teaching is significantly more work than in-person teaching. So no, we would not charge less for that. The college's operational costs in general have increased, not just decreased, with the addition of all these online and hybrid courses. I think some of the things that faculty are doing are really exciting and neat, but they're not cheap to run. This is not an inexpensive way to offer an education to people. Okay, with fewer days on campus during the upcoming year, why are there no adjustments in housing and meal charges? So the easy answer to that is that there are not fewer days on campuses. You will be on campus exactly the same amount of time. It's simply been restructured. The number of class days is the same as is required by our accreditor. The semester started 2 weeks earlier, and the break in the middle is we're doing with what break when people are usually gone. We're packing in finals and some other things. Usually students leave campus during that break. They won't be this year. Look, let's see. Next question. Will work-study jobs look different? I don't think you'll see any difference in work-study jobs, except that you might be asked to make adjustments to your schedule or working arrangements to keep everyone at a safe distance, safe and healthy. And there'll be some protocols in every position, I think, regarding cleanliness and sanitation that all of us will be observing. So not anything new. Okay, academics, and in particular, instructional delivery. Will all on-campus courses be taught in person? Oh, I think I may have referenced this at one point already. On-campus courses will be taught in person, but there may be some remote components. Every instructor is devising a plan for their course in order to limit close contact in the classroom and to meet the needs of students who are learning remotely. The on-campus courses will be offered in a variety of formats as determined by the faculty member. Some will be only in person, some will have a mix of online and in person, others will be online for content delivery, and then there'll be in-person meetings. And I mentioned earlier, faculty members are working out the best plans for their classes because what works in one class may not work in another one. The faculty will have office hours and will be available to meet either on Zoom or in person, even if some of the course content's online. Okay, if hybrid teaching occurs for in-residence students, what will the balance be for in-person and online components? Will online instruction be synchronous, in real time, or asynchronous? Okay. So unfortunately, there's no straightforward answer to this because for hybrid courses, the balance between in-person and online is determined by the faculty member based on the needs of their course. Some courses will offer online instruction synchronously, so in real time, while others will offer this asynchronously. And again, this will be one of the things that you will see when you are registering for classes. How will you ensure that lab experiences are available and safe? Well, again, similar to classrooms, labs will be arranged to allow for social distancing, and students will be required to wear masks. And then the labs will be cleaned, sanitized between sessions. Let's see. How will you ensure that honors students are able to partake in their seminars? Students may still take the 1 to 2 credit courses, which includes honors seminars. That's one of those classic courses that is unique. Most of these seminars will meet once a week at night to avoid conflict with other courses. We've really tried to simplify the daily schedule so that people are interacting with a smaller number of students are interacting with a smaller number of students and faculty in each term. To reduce risk. Let's see, will students who cannot return to campus be able to submit paperwork such as the declaration of major form online? Turns out you've been able to do that for over a year. So you will be able to find those forms online, including the declaration of major. We're moving others online quickly as well because of this. All right, residence life, that requires another drink. Can students continue to share rooms? Will the dorm assignments they received in May remain stable? Is there an option for a single person room? Room assignments remain the same for returning students, and new students will be housed with roommates, but only 2 per room. We've established protocols for what it means to live in residence, and each of us really has to be committed to caring for our community by following guidelines about wearing a mask in public spaces, by using social distancing whenever possible, and being careful to clean after using shared spaces in areas such as laundry rooms and bathrooms. In addition, we're asking every student and employee to do a daily assessment of temperature and to isolate themselves if they have any cold or flu-like symptoms. We can't put every student in a single room because we don't have enough rooms to accommodate everyone. We're doing our best to match preferences, but I will say that I feel that a really important part of the college experience, especially for first-year students, is having a roommate. I experienced that myself, and my children have. I feel it's really, really critical. I would hate for our first-year students to not have that experience, only to be in single rooms, even though I do understand the health concerns. But we believe that with proper precautions and health monitoring, sharing a room can be work, and it is really beneficial for students socializing as they become a college student, you know, change from being a high school student to a college student. Okay, what will change with dormitory life? How will roommates be protected from each other? We cannot protect roommates from each other apart from educating them about good hygiene practices, such as frequent hand washing and covering coughs and sneezes with their inner elbow, not sharing utensils or eating from the same dish. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, we expect them to observe social distancing and to wear masks when they're not in their room and to practice good hygiene. And we have to count on them to hold each other accountable in this too, which I know is challenging. It's even challenging for, you know, 50-something-year-old college presidents. So I know it's hard for an 18-year-old, but we really have to do that now. So residents will have key card access only to their assigned building and will be encouraged to visit classmates and friends from other halls in larger gathering spaces on campus. While a student can visit as a guest in a common area of another hall when following mask wearing and distancing expectations, no resident may have another student visit their assigned room without the full agreement of their roommate. The number of guests will be limited to 1 per resident for all assigned residential spaces. The campus, also I should mention, will be closed to outside visitors for at least the fall semester. Guests in residential spaces are limited only to members of the online community. That's something that we hated to do, but we feel we have to protect the health of not just our students, but our faculty and staff. Okay, campus life. What will campus life look like? What a great question, and I sure wish I knew. It'll be really interesting. And earlham education is at its absolute best when experienced in person, but we know not every student experience this fall can be delivered this way, given the pandemic. We expect campus life to be just as engaging, but with new health and safety measures being practiced. The Student Activities Board and student clubs and organizations, the events office, health and wellness team, public safety, religious life, and residence life, just to name a few of the people, will all be planning activities and programs to get students involved in campus community life. And they will do so with the central priority of keeping everyone safe and well, with everyone wearing masks in public and with host monitoring to maintain limited occupancy in indoor spaces. We will continue to offer a robust variety of activities. I have to tell you, the things I'm hearing about their plans, I'm really, really impressed. There's a lot of people being as innovative as they can to figure out new ways of doing things to keep our students engaged and active while protecting everyone's health and safety. There's no denying that it will be very different for all of us as we wear our masks and take steps to limit our physical proximity at campus gatherings. Some events that would typically be held in more intimate spaces will have to move to larger locations to avoid crowding in smaller venues. Student life and public safety personnel will provide additional guidance to advisors, conveners, and leaders of student clubs and organizations to assist with planning campus events. Let's see, what will the college policy be regarding student parties, and how will this be communicated to the students and followed up on? our student life staff right now is still working through policies and guidelines. There are just so many topics like this to address. I'm sure you'll understand they haven't been able to get all of them just yet, but certainly student parties are something on all of our minds right now. And we hope that we can come up with a way to, again, keep them engaged, and they want to be engaged, but to be safe. All right, let's move on to food service. How will food service work, and what will the meal procedure look like? And how am I doing on time? Are we okay? Okay, we're still good. I was worried. There's so much to cover. We will have 2 time frames for lunch in the dining hall and options for pickup in the cafe and 1 other location on campus to allow room for social distancing. Our dining partner, METS, has actually created a 6-page document to ensure the safety of students and employees. And I think I mentioned earlier, I'm providing picnic tables to place on the Hart and other areas around campus so that students and employees can eat outdoors whenever the weather cooperates. They'll just probably have to share with the squirrels a little bit. Okay, if a student becomes ill with COVID-19, a very serious question. What happens if my child becomes sick while at Earlham? Some parents live far away. I so understand your concern. A student with COVID would be monitored at least every 8 hours by a staff member, and health services will be in contact with them at least daily and probably more. Health services will also be consulting with our medical director during this time, and the monitor would be more frequent depending on the student's condition. I do know if a student tests positive, Wayne County Health Department will also be in contact with the student daily to see how they're doing. Okay, what medical care will be available in the isolation dorms? And when would a student be sent to Reed Hospital? Reed Hospital is our local hospital and is doing a fantastic job and is not even close to capacity. Things are going very, very well in Wayne County. I think it's a great place to be confident about your health and safety compared to large swaths of the United States right now. Okay, so what medical care will be available in the isolation dorms? Will they be sent to Reed Hospital? Students will be provided with food, hydration, medication, cleaning supplies and hand soap, thermometer, a log sheet to record their symptoms, as well as other needed supplies. And if their condition worsens, they will be brought to Reed Health via ambulance for further evaluation. We also, and our staff in that area are really fantastic. They will keep an eye on your child. We also have all the necessary personal protective equipment. Our staff would need to go in and check on the student in person if needed and help them get the assistance they need. Okay, if cases escalate, how confident are you feeling about plans in light of recent increases in COVID cases around the nation? So the first thing I'd say is I'm confident the plans we have in place will allow us to identify, isolate, and care for anyone who becomes infected. I'm also very happy that we are in this Wayne County, which is less populated than many places, and are seeing a significant decrease in cases, and we've never had many. One thing that really gives me hope is that public health officials have observed no uptick in COVID-19 cases after the protests around Black Lives Matter. And they believe it's because the protesters really took care of each other. They wore masks. They socially distanced as possible. No increase in cases in those areas. This is a trying time for all of us. And proper mitigation, as I mentioned, involves everyone in our community putting forth effort to prevent the spread of coronavirus. This includes monitoring health, hand washing, social distancing, and wearing masks. We've seen cases increase around the United States with reopenings, but we know that that's because they weren't wearing a mask, social distancing, and I don't know about hand washing. But those are 3 basic ways to dramatically decrease the chances of infection. We expect everyone in our community to live our principles and practices, and pull together to keep our community safe, which includes wearing a mask when shopping or dining off campus. Both on campus and off campus, we need to demonstrate our care for one another in order to preserve the well-being of our community. In just one second, I saw there's a message of them. Oh, okay. Let's see, is there a plan should there be a COVID-19 outbreak at Earlham or in Richmond after the semester starts? So first, let me say that we'll be responding immediately to any orders from the mayor of Richmond or the governor of Indiana to close. And then we will have to send students, we'll be required to send students home for remote learning. We're also in regular conversation with our county health department and Reed Health, our local hospital. In the absence of any order, which I think people are not expecting further orders of closure, to be honest, we'll be making decisions based on our capacity to house and assist students who are ill and the available of hospital rooms at Reed Health and in town. Or another issue that could happen, although I think is not a high probability, if a significant number of our faculty or staff become ill, we may need to send students home in that case. In the event we have to close, the process will be similar to one we implemented in March, hopefully not in such a reduced timeline, but we will work with those students who can make it back to their homes as well as those who cannot. I really hope I only have to do that once in my career, but we have to be open to whatever happens. All right, study away. What factors will play into the decision or on allowing students to study abroad during the spring semester? Yeah, great. This is so challenging, even to plan for the fall, which is just a few weeks out, and then trying to plan for the spring is really almost overwhelming. We will continue to review what experts and external resources recommend, and we'll collaborate with our program providers as we need to in order to make informed decisions about spring 2021 off-campus programs. Some of our external program providers may have their own policies that dictate what we can do. Some of the factors we'll consider for each program location include any travel advisories, legislation, policies enacted by the destination country, including whether that country is issuing visas, if applicable, and travel conditions both to and within the program location. There's a lot of factors to consider. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but if the situation is constantly evolving, we just have to continue to monitor and make the best decisions possible with the best information available to us at any given moment. Okay, let's see, international students. I am an international student and I won't be able to travel in the fall because of flight restrictions in place due to COVID-19. If we don't return to campus, how would this affect our visa status as international students? Great, another good question. At the moment, we're waiting on guidance from the Department of Homeland Security's Student and Exchange Visitor Program. Until new guidance is published, we cannot be sure how visa status will be affected, particularly for returning students. We are, just so you know, we are checking daily on this for updates, and we will communicate those details as soon as we have them. For new international students, we're encouraging you to begin your studies at Earlham remotely if you're not currently in the US, and delay your planned arrival date to campus until the start of the spring 2020 semester to allow for visa processing and securing flights. You also can register for the January term, which will be online only. If you're an international student living in the United States already, you should be aware that current regulations require F1 students take a majority of their coursework in person, meaning that the course needs to have some face-to-face requirements, unless the government permits exceptions to this, as they did in last spring term. but so far they are not. We're still waiting to receive more guidance on that. For right now, if the course does not have a requirement for the student to be physically present, then it's considered online. Let's see, one other question, when will the mailroom be open? And actually that's today. The Earlham Post Office has resumed retail sales and normal operating hours, which are Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. And Runyon Center is going to remain locked until students come back to campus. So anyone who's on campus now will have to use the call box for service and delivery. You'll be admitted to the service windows if it's essential for conducting business, but anyone entering the building will need to be wearing a mask. Okay, it's time for some closing remarks. We've covered a lot of ground today, and I hope you found it informative. It seems that every question you ask prompts another question because there's so many details on your mind and on ours. I do hope you feel reassured that we're working through all of these preparations and contingencies, and we'll be sharing additional information as we have it. I really encourage all of you, especially those of you who are parents, to bookmark our coronavirus webpage if you haven't done so already, and to check back frequently for updates, especially as we get closer to opening. That URL I mentioned before is earlham.edu/coronavirus. There are a lot of links to special information at the top of the page, so do look for those, especially the frequently asked questions. We'll be updating those again today. We update them every few days. We'll be in regular communication with our students via email, so please do check your email. We also have a hotline set up to take questions. If you cannot find the information you need on our website, please do look on the website first, especially in frequently asked questions. But the hotline number is 765-983-1870. Again, that number is 765-983-1870. It's at the top of the coronavirus webpage that has the facts and so forth. Thank you again for attending this chat. I wanted to close by showing you a video we created showing how we are preparing for our reopening. I hope you enjoy it. I did. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing as many of you as possible in August.
It's pretty quiet around here right now without our students, faculty, and staff, but there's a lot of activity going on to get ready for welcoming everyone back in August. We are making many preparations to safeguard your health. We are sanitizing surfaces throughout the campus. We are putting up protective barriers in locations where interactions take place at close proximity. We are checking and adjusting air handling systems in all of our buildings to be sure there's maximum ventilation. We are altering how our shared spaces are arranged, like classrooms, lounges, and study areas, so that we may maximize spacing. We are testing ways to bring distance learners into the classroom in real time where feasible, to accommodate those who can't be on campus. Where people would normally stand in line, we're installing markers to show the recommended distance to keep from others. And we're placing hand sanitizer in strategic spaces, a lot of hand sanitizer. Also some signs to remind us to do the right thing. When you return to campus in August, we'll have some new ways to safeguard each other and our own health. To limit the number of people in the dining hall, tables will be spaced farther apart. Please bring a thermometer and face masks with you to campus. We'll all be expected to monitor our temperature daily and wear face masks in academic buildings and other indoor gathering spaces. We will also keep a distance of 6 feet from each other in shared spaces. This is a 6-foot floor lamp on its side. It illustrates the amount of space needed to distance yourself from others. Floor lamps will not be required for social distancing. In order to protect the campus community, public access to campus also will be limited. The Athletics and Wellness Center, libraries, and Joseph Moore Museum will remain closed to the public through the fall to ensure the safety of both the campus and Richmond communities. We also will not have large gatherings on campus for the rest of the calendar year. That means no convocations, or homecoming, or alumni reunions, or parent weekends. We hate to do this, but if we can do our part to contain the pandemic, we'll be able to look forward to these events next year. Thank you for doing your part. We appreciate your help and cooperation. For updates on these issues and other campus news relating to COVID-19, please visit earlham.edu/coronavirus.